This is you cry. No help below us goes on the sky. Depending on the people, living for today, and there's no boundaries. This is hard to do. Nothing to tell or die from. Didn't do. Depending on the people, living life in peace. They say.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I would like you to please rise for the presentation of our colors, and if you can please remain standing for the colors while the national anthem is played.
Thank you all. Thank you, Ms. Solomon. And we will bless everybody for coming tonight.
And one of the biggest things is basically the passion that we have, that we know that we must continue to fight to make sure that we have Latinos in the forefront of healthcare in every level. And it's very hard, and we discuss it every day. We discuss the frustrations. We speak about it. And one of the things that we keep motivated is basically our friends like yourselves, sponsors and individuals who really say, we're here with you, we believe in the mission, and that's why we're here. We're not giving up. We'll definitely continue to fight. And sometimes it's a lot easier to give up on anything you do that you know that is difficult. The reason we're here today is because it's difficult, it's tough, but we are the ones who are going to make sure that diversity in the health field, in the hospitals, in the pharmaceuticals, in the clinics, in the doctor's offices, we make sure that the Latinos are getting the best health care they can ever get, because they are needed and they are given by all of us here, and definitely the hospitals and our sponsors. So let's give a hand to our sponsors and everyone who's in the committee, because this is the reality and the dream come true. Thank you very much. Who can we connect, and who we can call George or us or anybody in the committee, and how we can help this organization grow? And this is definitely our mission and our vision, and I'll go back to it. And I want to, from the bottom of our hearts on our committee, muchas gracias. Thank you very much for being here on a Monday after Father's Day. It's difficult. Should have seen this yesterday trying to get everything together. But if you still look at this room today, this is what you know called a blessing. And thank you for blessing us with your presence. Muchas gracias. Now, I want to call a good friend, Lee Perlman, come up and say a few words, one of our national partners, a great guy who we go into his office, and definitely this gentleman is very busy. You know, he can tell us very easily, look, you know, we can see you in a month. But when we call, the gentleman says, he's a true friend. He says, come on up, I'll see you next week. What can we do to help? How can we open up our association to you? And a great friend, a real professional. I consider him, mi hermano, my brother, Lee Perlman. Ladies and gentlemen,
I'll be introducing the Attorney General in a few minutes. He's on his way. He'll be here in a minute. Let me just first talk about the importance of this organization and how it fits into the ecosystem of the Greater New York Hospital Association area. You know, one of the things we believe at the Greater New York Hospital Association is that the patients we serve in our healthcare facilities are very precious to us, and they have all shapes and colors, sizes and age. And it is very important that those who are running our healthcare facilities also reflect the patients that they are serving. And this organization is dedicated to making sure that we have appropriate and more Latino representation in management. That doesn't mean entry-level jobs. That means on the whole continuum of careers, making sure that Latinos are well represented. The other part of the healthcare system are those that sell into our hospitals. So we have two different things. We have caregiving, and we care about the people that are involved in the caregiving and the management of the facilities. And then we have people that sell stuff to our healthcare facilities. One of the things that's also important is that the stuff we purchase is also representative of the community. And we have great Latino-based companies in New York and Long Island, around the metropolitan area. We are working to make sure that they have an appropriate opportunity to sell into our healthcare system. And we're working on some projects in the Bronx through our businesses. It's very, very exciting, but I look at this as an ecosystem. I don't look at it as one piece. It is important that we celebrate diversity, and by the way, this meeting happens to celebrate Latino diversity. We have other meetings that celebrate diversity in other parts of our population. One of the things we do every summer at the Greater New York Hospital Association is welcome young people who are either undergraduates or graduate students into our summer enrichment program, where we try to get people who are a little bit interested in healthcare or maybe a lot interested in healthcare and try to help propel their career. Over the last 15 years, we at Greater New York Hospital Association have had 350 participants in this program. I think we have some former people here tonight who've been in that program. We're very proud of that program. That program has young people who represent all shapes and sizes and colors of the spectrum. And I think we've given them some great career opportunities. I'm also very proud of the work that we've done with our major supplier, Premier, and we're going to be working more as time goes on to amplify opportunities for companies that want to sell into healthcare. I personally want to congratulate the up-and-coming executives who are going to be getting their awards. Kimley from New York Presbyterian and Wilson from Lutheran Medical Center, and the Hospital Managers of the Year, Clara and Melanie. So you will hear from them in a little bit. I will come back when the Attorney General comes, but let's move the program along, and I'll be back to introduce the Attorney General. Thanks.
And now I'd like to bring up someone, a very familiar face in the community doing so much great work, the President of the Association of Hispanic Healthcare Executives and the President of the National Hispanic Chamber of Commerce on Health, Mr. George Seppenfeld Cestero.
Linda was so gracious. She says, someone that's been around me, you say how old I've been around, so I appreciate that. You know, it's been a while. First, let me thank the Ahhe Board and the Chamber Board for all their work over the years. Let me thank the Managers Council, in particular Clara, Wilson, and Angela for all the work they've done and the challenges that they faced. That could lead me on to a whole new discourse about how we need to develop new leaders and how we, as leaders ourselves, have to motivate younger people to assume leadership roles within our organization. So don't be afraid to stand up and to take that position. As you know, when you become a major partner, you get involved in at least three of our events a year. So we were fortunate to have 4 events during the last calendar year. Some of them were in digital media, and they were all open to the public. Some of them were professional development lecture programs targeting managers. So if you're a manager, you know of a manager. One of the issues that I thought interesting was from one of the guests here of the Hispanic Dental Association, who said to me, she's a professor at Hostos, that she didn't know we existed. Well, that's kind of strange. We've been around 15 years. So, part of your job is to get the word out that we do exist. If you want a leadership opportunity, if you want a mentorship opportunity, we can be the ones that do the connection. Coming in the future, there are some initiatives that we are going to be embarking on. One of the areas that I'm most proud of on a secondary level is the Ahhe's Roundtable of Professional Hispanic Health Associations, that this year celebrated its decade of collaboration. So just to remind you, if you look inside your program book, you will see some photos where I have brown, dark hair, and there's no white in it. And Dr. Novella, who is the U.S. Surgeon General at the time, is in the photo. And people like the current Secretary of State, Cesar Perales, is our advisor. He's in the photo. Manny Rosa, who was the first Director of the Office of Minority Health, he's in the photo. So I bring that out because we have a long history. The roundtable was actually formed in 2004, and it covers the tri-state region. We successfully implemented the roundtable, and we look forward to collaboratively working with other associations to duplicate what we've done in the tri-state region in other parts of the country, so that we have a collective voice. Obviously, I might not, as an individual in our association, be interested in malpractice insurance, but physicians are. So there are things that are common, access to care, quality care, good outcomes are issues that we all relate to. In keeping with that, we've signed a collaborative agreement with the Bronx Borough President's Office, Ruben Diaz Jr., to work on a pilot program to look at the health workforce pipeline in the Bronx to see how we can develop career services for their residents and greater employment opportunities. So today, for the first time, I'm announcing that initiative, which in conjunction with our roundtable, we hope to get the word out and do mentoring of students that are interested in medicine, administrative positions, dentistry, nursing, etc. Lastly, let me just indicate that although there are managed care companies and insurance companies here tonight, whether it's Aetna, Health First, Health Plus, but truthfully, where are the others? Where are the Blue Cross Blue Shields? Where are the United Healthcares? Where are the Magna Cares? Those that supported us and allowed us to build this large infrastructure of our roundtable. It was because of them that we were able to grow this organization. I'm somewhat disappointed that they're not here in this room, but I look forward and ask the media to ask the question, why aren't you here, and how can we strengthen that partnership? So that's kind of the downside of the story. The good side of the story is that we all know we're going through a major healthcare reform transition right now. Hospitals are merging. We're trying to enroll new patients under the Affordable Care Act. It's a major challenge to all of us. Purses are tight, so we need all of you to at least get the word out as to what we're doing. Thank you for being here tonight, and I hope you have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you so much, George. And as a person whose father-in-law was a surgeon for many years, now he's retired, but I know I really appreciate the good work that you're doing to try to help all of us in our communities and provide better health for everyone. Right now, I'd like to bring up a face you saw just a few minutes ago, Lee Perlman, to introduce our esteemed keynote speaker tonight, and I certainly appreciate all his good work helping consumers in New York State. And Lee is here to make that introduction.
You know, the thing I want to say about Attorney General Schneiderman, who has been our Attorney General now he's in his fourth year. He was elected in 2011 as he was actually, I guess you were elected in 2010 and took office on January 1st, 2011 as the 65th Attorney General of New York State. But I'm operating without any notes, just so you know. The most interesting thing about Eric, though, is that Eric is really, I consider him the people's Attorney General because his career is pretty interesting before he became an Attorney General, and it's worth noting what he did before that. So he went to fancy school. He went to Amherst and Harvard Law School, but a lot of people go to Amherst and Harvard Law School, but they don't all do what he ended up doing. He then went to one of my favorite places in the world, the Berkshires, where I spent a lot of time in Western Massachusetts, where he was a deputy sheriff. He never made it to sheriff. He was deputy sheriff for 2 years. And then he left to become a clerk in the U.S. Southern District. And then he became a public interest attorney. And he did all of that, and he probably was barely 30 in his early 30s when he served his career beginning in public service, beginning a distinguished career in the New York State Senate, where he served from 1999 till he became the Attorney General. So I guess 11 years, serving the 30th and 31st districts. When he was Attorney General, he did a lot of very important things. The thing that's most compelling to me that he did, and it actually happened in 2009, was the reform of the Rockefeller drug laws, which I think kind of were an embarrassment to this state and were unbelievably onerous, especially to people of diversity who got themselves and made one mistake, and that mistake for relatively minor offenses was a lifetime mistake. And he changed that, changed the face of incarceration in this state, and that's really... And I don't think you would know that I would have talked about that. Okay, so that's also good. As Attorney General, he's done a lot of interesting things. Two things I want to note that are important about serving all communities. One, this whole thing with the banks and all the fraud that went on in terms of onerous foreclosure around the country, when it was very easy to make a little easy settlement and let the banks off the hook. This Attorney General did not let the banks off the hook, and I'm talking about across the country. That was a national issue, not a New York State issue. It was very important that there was accountability for the way banks treated people of all sorts of races, creeds, and socioeconomic opportunity. The other thing he's done that's near and dear to my heart is the Nonprofit Revitalization Act that celebrates the great work that nonprofits do in New York State, and we're thankful for that getting passed and all the good work. Tonight, we asked him to come as the People's Attorney General to talk to a group that's really dedicated to diversity within the healthcare system and making sure that the caregivers and those who are managing our healthcare facilities reflect the faces of the patients that we take care of. So without further ado, let me introduce the 65th Attorney General of New York State, the Honorable Eric Schneiderman.
Thank you. That was great. It can only get worse when I give my remarks. I appreciate this. It's an honor to be here with you this evening. I want to thank you for inviting me to share this wonderful occasion. I went to another one of these galas a few years ago, and it's a pleasure to be back here to celebrate with you again tonight. I want to thank Lee Perlman for introducing me. He mentioned the Nonprofit Revitalization Act. But I have to tell you that one of the things I am most proud of as Attorney General, and there are folks here who work with a lot of nonprofits, is that when I became Attorney General, we have 30 bureaus. And one of them is called the Charities Bureau. We regulate, I'm the primary regulator of every nonprofit in the state of New York. 18% of the state's jobs are in the nonprofit sector. And I took it over, and honestly, I think I can speak candidly here because I'm sure nothing will leave the room. No one runs for Attorney General saying, wow, I can't wait to take over the Charities Bureau. You know, it's people say, I want to get drug dealers, I want to get corrupted politicians. The Charities Bureau was seen as sort of a backwater paper processing place. That was not my approach when I got there, because I had been on the boards of nonprofits, and I realized how bad New York's laws for nonprofits were. Lee Perlman was the key to me understanding how to get together a group of 30 or so experts in the field. They issued a report, and we drafted, and with their help lobbied the legislature and passed the most comprehensive reform legislation of nonprofits in the history of the state, making it easier to do business while keeping people accountable, helping you get members on your boards, especially young people. Comprehensive piece of work. Lee organized the whole thing, so thank you for that. And I want to thank Luis Vasquez for putting this together, your awards chair, and I have to acknowledge George Zeppenfeld-Sestero, president of this terrific organization, a longtime member of my local community board, and on the west side of Manhattan. We've worked together on many important causes, and I want to thank all of you for participating in this great event and this great organization. The honor tonight is to be here with you because you really are all about what my office is about. The award, the mission of my office, the same: equal justice under law, one set of rules for everyone. No matter how powerful, no matter how poor. That's the mission of my office as the lawyer for the people of the state of New York. And a critical part of that work is to make sure that there is equal access to essential services all across our state, in all sectors, in all communities. And that we respect and take care of all parts of our population. Nowhere is this more important than in the field of healthcare, where people's lives literally depend on it, where we have to all work every day to see that there is equal justice under law and that there is access to health care for all. I want to, before I get too far into this, I want to applaud my fellow honorees, Kimberly Rowan Sanchez, Wilson Davila, and the Roundtable of Professional Hispanic Health Associations for their work in fostering diversity and making New York State a better place to live and work. I congratulate you all, and es un gran honor estar aquí con ustedes. La Fiscalía General tiene un departamento de salud y es parte de nuestra división de justicia social. Yo creo que la atención de salud es una cuestión de justicia social. I believe that our Healthcare Bureau, a part of our Social Justice Division, stands for the proposition that healthcare is a matter of justice. Healthcare, and I think we've moved forward with the Affordable Care Act a step further on the path to recognizing that healthcare is something that is a right. It is not something that should be restricted to a few very privileged members of society. It's something that, as a collective society, trying to be as competitive as we can be with other countries in the global economy, you have to deal with the issue of providing health care in a humane, affordable, accessible way for all of your citizens. That's what we work for in my Healthcare Bureau and in my office generally, and I know that's an important part of your mission. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am a bit of a student of American history, and in my view, the United States is not just a country. The United States is a project, and each generation is called on to leave our country more equal, more just, more fair than when we found it. That's the project. And we've moved forward a long way in the last couple of 100 years, but the challenge to our generation now is tremendous. The gap between rich and poor has been growing. The access to services that I believe are basic human rights has been getting more and more problematic and more complicated. Equal justice under law is the quintessential American aspiration. And I know equality, complete equality is a ways off, but please accept my word that as long as I'm the Attorney General, our office will be dedicated to leaving New York more just, more equal, and more fair than when I took office, and that is my commitment to you tonight. Now, let me also mention another key thing that I've learned in my many years of public service and public interest legal work and private sector legal work and my adventures as a deputy sheriff in Pittsfield, Massachusetts. Lee does like going to the Berkshires. I don't think he's ever been in the 2nd Street jail, but it's not a place many people visit willingly. But I have learned that no one does anything alone. And the only way to accomplish anything as Attorney General or as someone who's seeking to provide health care is to find allies and also to build bridges with opponents. The only way you get things done, there's a phenomenon in the United States now that recognizes that culture is really sort of celebrating individual achievement at any cost. And there's an expression for that which my rabbi uses. He says, the problem is the self-made man who worships his creator. Doesn't worship God, the self-made man who worships his creator. No one does anything alone. We all stand on the shoulders of others, and the only way I can accomplish any of the big things I've been able to do, whether it was repealing the Rockefeller drug laws or taking on the banks, and we have gotten the largest settlements in American history going back to homeowners all over the country since we took this on. But it's been me working in concert with dozens or hundreds of others. That's the way we work. And I want to tell you a little bit more about my healthcare bureau because I want to invite all of you to consider us as your partner in the effort to provide health care and to diversify our healthcare system and to ensure that in this time of transition to a new system, people are not left behind and people are not forgotten. In transition, great things can happen, but there also can be problems, and we welcome your partnership with us in trying to make sure that everyone is cared for and everyone's interests are taken into consideration in this transition. So I have 13 offices and 30 bureaus. But one of the most important of those is our healthcare bureau. It is a part of my division of social justice, as I already noted, and I do believe that the right to access to medical care, to have information about the options that are available to you, to make informed decisions about medical treatment, and to have recourse if you are scammed or abused, these are basic rights that all New Yorkers should share. We have taken a variety of approaches to help ensure that New Yorkers have these rights and can freely exercise them, particularly those on the lower rungs of the economic ladder, because, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, the poor and often members of minority communities have to work harder to get health care that wealthier people take for granted. They have to get through it with less access to resources, less access to information. They have a harder time understanding complicated instructions, especially if they don't speak English well. And finally, and most troubling to me in my office as the protector of New York consumers, the poor and members of minority communities are often seen as easy prey for scammers and fraudsters. And that's something that we focus on very heavily in healthcare and in all of our consumer protection bureaus. So my healthcare bureau starts by making sure that everyone has access to information about the options that are available, what benefits you're entitled to. We operate a toll-free telephone hotline to assist New Yorkers in navigating every aspect of our healthcare system. We offer this assistance in multiple languages. We have attorneys and advocates on hand to answer questions, pursue complaints. We get complaints about people being denied coverage pretty much on a daily basis. Insurance companies, I can barely get this out, refusing to cover benefits that are clearly covered. And this is an epidemic in the United States, I have to say. So this is something we spend a lot of time about. And in all of these cases, we work to try and get justice for those who contact us. In 2013, the Bureau handled about 6,000 cases. We've gotten millions and millions of dollars in back pay or restitution or fines from the healthcare providers or the insurers or the individuals who are scamming people. And we've also gotten approval of essential medical care for thousands of New Yorkers. That's one of the things we do, information. The second is enforcement. We make sure that care plans, providers, businesses live up to their responsibilities to consumers. We don't ask people to do more than they're required to, but we insist that everyone follow the rules. This is critical because the bad actors undercut the good actors. There are companies that play by all the rules and live up to their responsibilities. It is an unfair competitive advantage for them to have to deal with companies that evade the rules and are never held accountable. So enforcement, that's a tremendously important part of our office. We do have jurisdiction to bring both civil and criminal cases, and we can use our bureaus in combination, which we often do if we're trying to root out a really corrupt scheme. Sometimes we combine our healthcare bureau with our charities bureau, our public integrity bureau if there's a public official involved. Sometimes it involves investment fraud, so our investor protection bureau. We have all the tools, and we will use all of them to support the right of New Yorkers to get humane, affordable health care and to see that equal justice under law is a part of our system. We have found that unscrupulous providers sometimes have been rushing people through provisions when they sign them up for cards or for programs that enable them to borrow money to pay for care right when they're right in a medical office. This has become a big problem. We settled with a company recently called Credit Care, a subsidiary of GE Capital Bank, and the company was using high-pressure sales taxes on people while they were waiting in the doctor's office or in the hospital or in a clinic. And they sold people medical credit cards. The costs were charged immediately, and they were not really informed about the interest rates that ballooned after a very short period of time. We managed to bring these folks to justice. They stopped charging people, and the interest rate they were charging, ladies and gentlemen, was 26% interest, which is called usury, and it's also called despicable. And many patients didn't understand that that was going to be the interest rate after a very short period of time. They've now agreed to change their procedures completely. They can't sell one of these to people right away. There's a 3-day period for folks to consider it. They've changed the credit terms. They're no longer offering these teaser rates. And they've added additional transparency, and we are monitoring them, checking the language they're using to inform consumers. And we have saved millions of dollars for consumers and returned hundreds of thousands of dollars to consumers who had already been duped. We also are very, very strong about enforcing New York State's mental health parity laws. This is a big challenge in healthcare right now, to make sure that healthcare plans cover behavioral health treatments the same way they cover medical, surgical claims or other claims, and that they don't discriminate against New Yorkers with mental health issues, which has been a problem. We have monitored providers. Some of them provided mental health services at a rate 40% or 60% or 80% lower than other medical services. And usually when we confront these firms, they agree to enter into a settlement and do the right thing. It's very seldom that we have to take folks to court because the people we're going after, it's usually pretty clear that they're violating the law. So we're trying to enforce all these things through our investigations. We have found that some 4 million New Yorkers are now going to be getting behavioral health treatment for which they have paid and to which they are entitled, but which they were not going to receive before we launched our campaign to enforce the new law in this area. And I have to say, this is an area where tips and information from whistleblowers and complaints that come from maybe some of the people in this room, certainly people you know, are critically important. You know the expression, if you see something, say something. Well, in the transitional period in the healthcare system, we need you as our partners to report things that aren't supposed to be going on when you see them. Third, we're big on education, and we partner with hospitals and healthcare systems to try and hold seminars, produce brochures, teach people about their rights. We did a whole series of programs trying to explain about the healthcare exchanges and the Affordable Care Act before it went into place. And we caution consumers what to watch out for. We do seminars about avoiding scams. Senior citizens are particularly vulnerable to healthcare fraud. And there's something a term I didn't really know before I became Attorney General called affinity fraud, which means fraudsters who target a specific population. And there are a lot of folks who target seniors. All they do is defraud seniors. They won't defraud middle-aged people. All they do is defraud seniors, and seniors are viewed as being vulnerable because seniors have accumulated some money over the years. Usually they have something to lose. Often they can be taken advantage of if they're starting to lose some of their cognitive abilities. And this is something that we've been working very hard to prevent. And I have to say that the healthcare community has been tremendous about this. We've got a Smart Seniors program, and our biggest allies in doing seminars and promoting this around the country are healthcare institutions. Most often, when we're doing a briefing for seniors, we're doing it at some sort of healthcare institution around the state of New York as we travel around. And finally, our fourth approach to helping deal with the problem of equal justice in the healthcare system and equal access for New Yorkers is our legislative advocacy. We are always pushing for laws and regulations to help consumers, to make this a more fair system, to make sure the regulators are doing their job. We have a special place in guaranteeing language access, which our office enforces the language access laws militantly, and we've brought dozens and dozens of cases to require that people who don't speak English still have access to critical services, and that the situation that existed really not so long ago in our state, maybe a decade ago, where you go into a hospital and people were just asking random folks, could they help translate this important medical communication between a doctor and a patient? That cannot exist in the state of New York anymore. It's illegal, and when we find it, we punish the people involved and ensure that it's corrected. So I have to say that with our colleagues in government, in law enforcement, with our colleagues in the healthcare system, we have been able to do a lot. But our aspirations are to do very much more. And that comes to my second principle of partnership. As many allies as we've got, as many folks as we have calling in and giving us consumer complaints or tips about complaints, we always need more. And we understand that healthcare in New York is a vocation, an incredibly important vocation, but that it's also a business. And our goal is not just to catch the bad guys, but to help the good guys. That's why I took such an interest in not catching bad nonprofits, but helping the good nonprofits do business more easily and more effectively. We understand that we need to all work together to maintain these critical businesses in a time of change, in a time of mergers, in a time of increased financial stress. We all have to be smart, and we all have to work together. We believe our job is to ensure that whenever there's a merger or consolidation, we're going to work with the providers to ensure that they can continue to provide coverage. Sometimes we have to go and lobby the legislature in Albany or go lobby one of the regulators about it. We are willing to do that. In Utica last year, where I have an office, I have 13 offices around the state, we worked very, very closely with two struggling hospitals, worked through a merger that guaranteed that they would be able to serve some of the poorest communities in the state. You may not know this, but Utica is a place where the federal government relocates refugees from other countries. So it's very interesting in Utica. You're walking along and then you'll see a whole bunch of people in burqas going by, and then you see a bunch of people who are clearly come from Latin America, and they are resettling refugees there. These communities, talk about language problems. I mean, we're talking about a lot of languages where you had to go very, very far to find a translator, but we worked with these medical facilities to ensure that they could serve that population. And I'm proud of the fact that we work with so many great institutions in this field. We know that you bring a lot of energy, bring a lot of wisdom, and you're critical to ensuring the mission of our healthcare system, the mission of the United States. And as people in the healthcare system, you are a part of that trajectory towards greater justice and greater equality with each generation. That is what you are here to do. Not just to provide services, but to make our system more fair, more just, more equitable than it was when we found it. I join you in that work. I urge you to be in touch with my office and work with us as we attempt to expand even beyond the great work that we're doing now. I am planning to stay with this, Lee mentioned that I've had a lot of different careers. This is certainly the best job I've ever had, and if the people of the state of New York are willing, I intend to keep doing this for some years to come and to working with you for that entire time. Thank you very much.
We retire the color, but at the same time, I just want to present our Attorney General with, let's give Lee Plum a great, because he was instrumental in getting the Attorney General a great friend. And basically what this award is basically saying thank you, muchas gracias, even for speaking Spanish. That was good. Wasn't that Spanish pretty good? Right. Thank you very much for being a friend and then doing the right thing up there, representing all our people. Thank you, muchas gracias. Here we go. On behalf of the Chamber and the Ahhe, very much. You go right up there.
Muchísimas gracias.
Mr. Attorney General, permission to retire the color. Forward. Mark. Right turn. Mark. Color. Halt. Retire the color. Forward. Mark.
Say a few words, Mr. Miguel Centeno of Aetna.
Muy buenas noches. Good evening. My name is Miguel Centeno. I am the Managing Director of Community Relations for Aetna, and it is a pleasure yet again to be here with all of you in partnership with Ahhe. As I typically do as I start my remarks at this function, I want to thank George, Luis, and the team por seguir siendo presente, for continuing to be present, continuing to convene us in this fashion, continuing to focus on the issues that matter to the health of the Latino community. Now, my friends, I have the pleasure of working with not-for-profit organizations all across the country. And so I know how difficult it is right now, the challenge that exists for not-for-profit organizations to do the work that they're charged with doing. And so I know it's no easy task to be able to be up here, as George was earlier today, and say that he's been at this, leading the charge for 15 years. I've been very pleased to be able to be together with George all of the time that I've been at Aetna, which has been about 7 years now. And so, again, I think that is worthy of our collective thanks, our collective recognition. So if you can join me in a round of applause for George, Luis, and team for continuing this vital work. I also want to take a brief moment to congratulate tonight's honorees. I know that each and every one of them does the work because they want to make a difference, because it matters to them. They do not do it because they seek public recognition. But notwithstanding that, I think it's right every so often for us to stop, recognize the impact that they're having in the community and to thank them the way that we're going to do this evening. So please thank the honorees. Please join me in thanking them as well. Now, as we all know, this is a dramatic time of change in healthcare. And we at Aetna certainly embrace this change because the intent of that change is to improve access to high-quality, affordable health care to all communities. And in particular, the focus of the effort of the folks around this room is to make sure that the Latino community is included in that effort. We all know how desperately this community needs those efforts. We all know the price of racial disparities in healthcare is too costly for our families, for our community, and for the economy. So no podemos seguir haciendo lo mismo. We can't continue to do the same things. And so it's going to take that collective effort of all of us working together, working in concert, to make sure that we achieve the improvements that we seek. Now, I mentioned that we're very proud to have had a long-standing relationship with George. And particularly in times of change, I can tell you that it's very comforting to be able to work side by side with an organization that over the years has shown its mettle, has shown its value, has continued to make a difference throughout all of those years. So we're very proud that although there is lots of change coming, we're going to continue to be able to work with Ahhe and the people in this room to make sure that we get it right, and at the end of the day, we achieve the change that we're looking for the Hispanic community and for all the communities that we care about. And so on that note, again, I want to thank all of you for coming, and please enjoy the rest of this evening. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, Miguel. And now it is my pleasure to announce our honorees this evening. And we begin with someone whose company name has really become a verb in our international lexicon. I'm going to Google this. I'm going to Google you. Now, our first award is to Desmonique Bonet, the head of industry for Google Incorporated, who is our corporate visionary of the year. Desmonique, come up to accept your award, please.
Thank you so much on behalf of Google. It's definitely an honor to be here with all of you this evening. When I got the phone call and asked if I could represent our company, I couldn't think of any place I'd rather be tonight than to be here in this beautiful room with everybody that I've met this evening. We had a great conversation at the table about the soccer game this evening. So we haven't mentioned it yet. I thought I'd just break the ice. And there was a lot of conversation in the press about, can this team really do it? This team isn't going to do it. There's no way they're going to beat Ghana. It's not going to happen. And final score, 2-1, is that right? We knocked it out of the park. We absolutely crushed it. And I think for all of us, it's just a simple reminder that when we are really challenged and pushed to the upper echelons of what we think we're capable of doing, we somehow find the will and the ability to get there and to make it happen. And from what I'm hearing tonight, and from what I could sense just through George's passion for this organization, that's something that is going to be our challenge, but it sounds like something that we know the success is there, it has been there, and there's even more to come. Palante, right? We always have work to do. I joined Google 8 years ago. I originally am a political scientist. I had nothing to do with the digital arena. I taught social movements and I studied state-society relations. And I moved to Google because I thought that the internet and the ability to connect people with information around the world would be singularly one of the most important social movements that we would ever see to date. And I don't think that I was wrong, and you probably don't think I was wrong either. My grandmother, who's 92 years old now, when I first told her 8 years ago I was going to Google, and she speaks no English, only Spanish, and she doesn't leave her apartment very much, I gotta tell you, and they come and bring her the little bingo card. She stays at home all day long. I told her, I said, I got this new job, I'm gonna go to Google. And she said, oh my God, what is Google? And I said, it's the internet, Grandma. And she said, that's great. Now you can buy me a computer. And I said, okay, I could have done that before, but I'll buy you a computer. What are you gonna do with the computer? What do you want this for? And I thought maybe she was gonna say, you know, I would look at pictures or I would see things from the family. But she told me, and this is a true story, I want to look up all of my medications online. I want to read everything that the doctors are telling me about sicknesses that I have. And that's when I thought, well, you know what? I think this Google might be really onto something. And if it could help my grandmother connect to information that was going to empower her and make her feel confident in her health care and her health care decisions, I knew it would mean a lot to everybody around the world. And I've spent several years at Google working with major companies like Johnson & Johnson, helping to tell those stories in the online community through the power of video on YouTube that many of you experience. We're a lot more than just interesting how-to videos. We share a lot of information there about how to empower people about the health that we care about, and lots of opportunities to do that in bilingual capacities. You may have also heard about a lot of our technology like Hangouts, where you can go in and really just talk to each other and have the power of video, have the power of full sight, sound, and motion to be able to learn more about the world around us, including our healthcare. And I think all of that is super exciting. But one of the things that excites me most, and one of the reasons I go to Google every single day, is because there are teams and engineers, 20 of which I spent some time with in Mountain View last week, who are just working every day to solve some really hard problems, not like ourselves in this room. And they have the luxury of trying to figure out how to crack and solve some of the toughest problems that we don't even know are affecting us yet. Some of those engineers are working on projects like our Google Contact Lens, and I don't know if any of you have heard about that here, but you know, for those of you who treat diabetes patients or suffer from diabetes yourself, knowing that probably 2 times the amount of those of us in the Hispanic community are likely to suffer from diabetes, being pricked in the finger all day long, right, to test your blood sugar level, your glucose level, is a core part of that experience. And a group of engineers thought, wouldn't it be interesting if a contact lens could monitor this through a tear? And if your tears could, you know, monitor your blood sugar level, you would not have to be pricked. And if it could do that twice a second, every second of the day, maybe we could proactively take better care of our health. I'm proud because that's the kind of technology that we're working on today. Those are the kinds of projects that we think are going to change the health of all of those around us. And if we can do that and do that in ways that help, you know, treat things that are very endemic to our community, but also to communities around the world, I think hopefully it's our small way of doing something, you know, that will change the experience for all of us, if not now, at some point in our futures. So with that, I just want to thank you all for recognizing us, for including us in this great challenge of bringing healthcare to those of us who need it most. We're honored, we're privileged, and we thank you for having us with you here tonight. Gracias por todo.
We are going to present Google with the Corporate Visionary of the Year Award 14th Annual Healthcare Award, June 16, 2015. Muchas gracias, and we look forward to our relationship and our partnership. Gracias.
We're going to recognize up-and-coming executives, and we actually have two this year. First, I'd like to bring up Kimberly Roldan Sanchez, Vice President and Chief Administrative Officer, New York Presbyterian Healthcare System and Regulatory Planning. Up-and-coming Executive of the Year. Congratulations.
While we did that through the summers, the mantra in my household was also that the U.S. had no barriers and that hard work and a focus on education would lead to success in the U.S. One piece that I must highlight that my mom was clearly naive to is the glass ceiling that exists within the U.S., both for women and for minorities. With that, she continued to push me through, not knowing that that existed here. And myself, being young, not knowing, I also pursued that. A lot of hard work and perseverance. I became the first person in my immediate family to attain a graduate degree. And wow, that was a very big accomplishment for my family. As a first-generation United States American, you can just imagine that, as I'm sure there are others. So with my mom's confidence, with outstanding mentorships within my job field and my ambition, I'm extremely proud of my accomplishments and where I stand here before you. I'm humbled by this acknowledgement and want to thank everyone for choosing me for this award, George, Luis. I'm very fortunate to work at a premier academic medical center, New York Presbyterian Hospital. They're at the forefront of innovation. It is with that that I've had many opportunities for growth in my career, and I'm sure there'll be other opportunities. I learn every day while I'm there. While saying all of that, I would like to highlight some of the comments that have been said here about getting more of our Latino younger generation into the healthcare force, and how do we do that? I hope that I am a real example and I have blazed a trail for my children and other young Latino children that they will follow. That the glass ceiling I mentioned a moment ago will continue to break even further, and that it will become a past tense that we only remember as an idiom. I hope they all enter the future with a sky's the limit attitude, and that success is just abundant within Latinos. I thank you again, and I'm truly honored.
As I said earlier, we have two up-and-coming executives whose work we want to recognize tonight. We also have with us this evening Wilson Davila, Assistant Vice President, Radiology and Cardiovascular Services at Lutheran Medical Center. Congratulations, Wilson.
Good evening, everyone. I want to thank Kimberly also for mentioning the rest of the honorees. I also congratulate them for the hard work and effort that got them here today. I want to thank George and Luis and Ahhe for nominating me for this fantastic award. I'm truly honored and humbled by this. I'd like to say that Ahhe is an organization that is dedicated to obtaining better outcomes for the patients and equality among diverse populations. The Latino community, it faces huge challenges as far as getting equitable health care. Many have to do with being underinsured or uninsured, and part of our job is to get them the access that they need for better health care. Some of these patients have a lack of documentation status in the United States. Some of them have socioeconomic barriers and cultural barriers that prevent them from getting the care that they need. And just information and education as far as what type of health care is out there and they have access to. Ahhe is focusing its efforts on developing some of the future healthcare leaders, and it has entrusted some of the Managers Council of Ahhe, along with Greater New York, to be part of the mentorship program and to develop the next generation of leaders. I feel that our job as leaders are to shape the next generation and to make patients the first and foremost of everything that we do. They are the reason that we are in healthcare and taking care of patients. I like to say, having been raised in Washington Heights with a single mom since my dad died at a very young age with cancer, I first learned firsthand, rather, that it was difficult to take care of a loved one that didn't have insurance, and the parent was non-working at the time. She was a housewife. So that being said, I was grateful for everything that the healthcare setting was able to do to make my father last as long as he did. And I always wonder if he had preventable care the way that everybody else should be entitled to, and all of the Latino population should have, would he be around today? I don't know the answer to that, but I can tell you one thing: I'm going to try hard to get everyone the access they need going forward. And I hope that all of you will continue the same mission. One of my most biggest inspirations to helping me move forward in my career was my brother. I watch him study day and night. I used to go to bed, and the first thing the next morning, I see my brother still there with the books, and he wasn't sleeping. I checked. And he got his scholarship, he worked hard, and he always entrusted me. He said, study hard, whatever you want to do, you can do it. And I followed his footsteps, and here I am today. So I'm very proud to be here, and I thank my brother for that. I also want to thank you. I'd like to also thank my professional support, my Dr. J. Rao, the chairman of radiology, and Jose Hernandez, the vice president of our clinical operations at Lutheran Medical Center, for entrusting me to provide the best care possible to our patients. We work at Lutheran Medical Center, which is a safety net hospital, so we do have a lot of patients that don't have insurance. And if you walked around the hallways and you saw the care that the people get at our hospital, you would think they have the gold card. We treat our patients like gold, and they come back with smiles. We have these big brochures with happy patient letters. So it doesn't matter how much money you have at Lutheran, we take care of you the same way as if you had the gold card. I don't want to forget my beautiful wife and children that are always there for me, even if I come home late. They say, don't worry, Daddy, you're home now. Don't worry that you came late. We're here for you. You're my best daddy, they tell me, but hopefully there's only one, right? And once again, I'd like to thank George and Ahhe for giving me this great opportunity, and I hope to be part of the continual legacy of Ahhe moving forward. Thank you.
And if we're looking forward to the future of the healthcare, this is it. Excellent speakers, excellent, compassionate people. Let's give them a great hand. We're that great. This is what we want to hear. Thank you so much.
None other than Gail Brewer.
Thank you very much. I am not esteemed compared to all of your honorees. Your honorees are very esteemed. And I always enjoy coming here. George kindly invites me. We're neighbors. We've both been part of the community board, and I have great respect for the work he does. I see some of his colleagues here from community board number 7. But between the technology, which I do have a passion for, was the author of the open data bill in the city council. So all of the city agencies now have to put all of their data into one portal. And we're going to work to make sure that that information is available, up to date, and in real time. And I hope small things like that can help, because every little bit that opens up government information, I hope helps you and helps your patients. But just more than anything else, thank you for including me. And of course, if healthcare, if you were in charge of all the healthcare in the world, we'd be in a great place. Thank you very much.
Right now, I would like to call up the Ahhe's Roundtable of Professional Hispanic Health Association for its decade of collaboration. And I'd like to I'm going to announce the name of each organization, association that we're honoring here tonight. And if I can have the representative come up and say your name here at the podium, and then we'll present your award and take a photo. Let's begin with the Association of Hispanic Healthcare Executives. George, you. All right. He's got his award. Presente. There he goes. And next, the Association of Hispanic Mental Health Professionals. Please come up.
Carmen Collado, Hispanic Mental Health Professionals, and I'm joined here by Susan Colin.
Past President of the Association.
Good evening, Miguel Hernandez, Dominican Medical Association. I would like to also call Dr. Roa, Dr. Aponte, and Dr. Sanchez.
Thank you, Dr. Roa, from the Dominican Medical Association, Executive Director.
Dr. Aponte, I'm also President of the Dominican Association.
Carmen Sanchez, Board Member. Congratulations, Dominican Medical Association. Now, the Hispanic Dental Association. Congratulations. Please come up and accept your award.
Luz Marina Aguirre, President of the New York Hispanic Dental Association, representing the Hispanic Dental Association at the national level. Thank you.
And now we need to see more Latino medical students. The Latino Medical Student Association. Please come up.
Francesco Michelasi, the Vice Chair of External Affairs for the Latino Medical Student Association. I'd like to call up Orlando Sola and Camilo Acuñas. I would like to, but they're medical students, so they're busy studying.
Tonight we're also honoring the National Association of Hispanic Nurses.
Good evening, Maria Elena Piña Fonte, New York President, Chapter for the National Association of Hispanic Nurses.
Next, representing the National Hispanic Chamber of Commerce on Health. There he is. He'll come up with a group photo though. And the National Hispanic Medical Association. Congratulations.
Buenas noches. I'm actually wearing two hats. I'm actually representing the Spanish American Medical Dental Society of New York as a past president and the National Hispanic Medical Association in Washington, D.C. Sam Marcy.
How are we going to take this picture?
I just want to make a quick comment. I want to thank all the members of the National Hispanic Health Associations that have been so instrumental in forming during the last 10 years and getting together and looking at issues and listening to guest speakers. And we hope to continue in the tri-state region the same issue and work with other organizations to duplicate what we've been doing in the tri-state region. And I want to thank all of you for being here tonight, and congratulations.
Right now, we'd like to present our final award this evening. It is the Hospital Manager of the Year Award. And here to make that presentation, I'd like to introduce the Chair of Ahhe's Managers Council, Clara Irizarry of Memorial Steph Kettering Cancer Center. Clara?
Well, you know what they save the best for last. My name is Clara Irizarry. I am from Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, also coming from humble beginnings. And I handle the leadership searches for Memorial Sloan Kettering when they're looking for a new chair or chief. An awesome position and a lot of responsibility. It is my honor tonight to present this award to Melanie Denisi, if she can please come up. Melanie Denisi works at Montefiore Medical Center and started in 1991. She has held various director-level positions at Montefiore throughout the years and is currently their radiology director of finance and business development. She holds a Bachelor of Science from Iona College and a Master of Science in Health Service Administration from the New School. Melanie, on behalf of the Managers Council, congratulations on your selection by Montefiore Medical Center to receive a Manager of the Year award. This award is an acknowledgement of both your achievements and the high regard you are held by Montefiore and your colleagues. As an awardee, you are now inducted into the Ahhe's Managers Council.
Thank you. Thank you. This is an honor, and I wanted to thank my colleagues at Table 10 over there, who have helped me along with this journey at Montefiore over the last 23 years, starting with the person who hired me to my current boss and my colleagues that I've worked with along the way, my husband who helps me balance my kids with my work life, and my daddy who gave me my whole start. So thanks.
I hope you all enjoyed the evening tonight. Great food, great music as well as hearing the inspiring words from all our honorees. Ladies and gentlemen, it's truly been my pleasure to be with you once again. And remember George's opening words, involve yourself with Ahhe and the work of the Round Table. Good night, everyone. See you next year.
Let's give them a great job. Para luego de la Channel 4, right? Thank you. Un vaquero. Muchas gracias.